Are you feeling stuck in your Korean learning journey? Maybe you've been studying for months but still can't hold a basic conversation? Don't worry, you're not alone. Today I'll share the most common mistakes that might be holding you back from reaching your Korean language goals. I made many of these mistakes myself, and fixing them completely changed my learning experience. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Watch the full video to learn what to avoid when learning Korean. Let's get started. Mistake number 1 is obsessing over small details. This is one of the biggest roadblocks in Korean learning. I used to spend hours trying to perfect the usage of markers like I, ga, and 는, which only led to frustration and fear of speaking. Instead, just get a general understanding. Then start practicing and learn these rules naturally as you go. It's more important to be directionally right than absolutely right. Think of it like learning to ride a bike. You don't need to understand the physics of balance before getting on. Mistake number 2 is trying to be perfect right from the start. You can easily spend weeks trying to memorize every single pronunciation rule, and you likely won't be able to use them when you need to. Here's what I learned. Embrace your mistakes. As Thomas J. Watson said, if you want to increase your success rate, double your failure rate. Just make sure you're learning from those mistakes, not repeating them. Mistake number 3 is using informal speech as your standard form of communication. Some beginners jump straight to saying 안녕 instead of saying 안녕하세요 because it's shorter. However, using informal speech inappropriately can make you sound rude. Stick to standard polite speech first and learn the informal variations later. If you're enjoying these tips, then you may also be curious about what your Korean level is. Find out by taking the Korean level test, linked in the description below. Mistake number 4 is directly translating English into Korean. This will only lead to confusion. For example, saying 내 집 when Koreans typically say 우리 집 in daily conversation. It sounds a bit strange. Learn the grammar properly, pay attention to cultural nuances, and stay curious about these differences. Mistake number 5 is trying to make complicated sentences before mastering the basics. It's like trying to run before you can walk. We often see learners attempting to translate complex English expressions like I would have gone if I had known, before they can confidently use simple present tense. Focus on mastering basic sentence structures first, the building blocks like 저는 학생이에요 or 저는 사과를 좋아해요. These simple patterns form 90% of daily Korean conversations. Once you're comfortable with these, then gradually add more complex grammar points. Mistake number 6 is only developing one skill while neglecting others. It's like building a table with only one leg. It won't stand on its own. It's easy to fall into the trap of only studying with textbooks or only watching Korean dramas. Imagine being able to read Korean perfectly, but freezing when someone asks, 언제 만날까요? The key is to practice all 4 skills: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. For example, when you learn a new word, try to read it in a sentence, write it in your notes, listen to its pronunciation, and use it in conversation. This creates stronger neural connections and helps you remember the word better. Mistake number 7 is relying too heavily on K-pop lyrics to learn Korean. While pop songs are catchy, they often use poetic expressions and unique word choices that might sound strange in everyday conversation. For example, in songs, you may hear things like 당신을 그리워해요. However, in daily life, Koreans more naturally express this feeling with 보고 싶어요, without using 당신. Instead, focus on learning from daily conversations like 오늘 뭐 먹었어요? Or 주말 잘 보내세요. Save K-pop for when you have a solid grasp of everyday Korean. Mistake number 8 is pronouncing Korean loanwords like their English counterparts. This is a common mistake. Words like 택시, computer, and 커피 have their own distinct Korean pronunciation. Many learners make the mistake of saying these words with their English accents, and as a result, native Koreans might not understand what they're saying. The key is to completely forget the English pronunciation and focus on the Hangul spelling. Break it down syllable by syllable. 아이스크림, not ice cream. Mistake number 9 is speaking too fast too early in your learning journey. I get it. You want to sound like a native speaker, but rushing through 안녕하세요. 저는 마이클이에요. At lightning speed often leads to mumbled syllables and confused listeners. Instead, practice speaking at a comfortable pace where you can clearly pronounce each syllable. 안녕하세요. Focus on the rhythm of Korean speech and notice when native speakers naturally stress certain syllables. Speed will come naturally as you get more comfortable with the language patterns. Mistake number 10 is thinking about Hangul in terms of English sounds. This is a major roadblock. Many learners get stuck trying to decide if miam should be pronounced as M or B, like in 만나서 반갑습니다. The answer is, it doesn't really matter. In 만나서 반갑습니다, the miam is pronounced abruptly, so it can sound like a B. Instead, learn to understand the range of Korean sounds without trying to find exact English equivalents. There isn't always a one-to-one match, and that's okay. Focus on learning the Korean sound system on its own terms, and don't hesitate to ask for pronunciation help when needed. Which of these mistakes resonated with you the most? Share your experience in the comments below.